Today our lesson will be TOEFL iBT listening question style. We have pragmatic understanding questions, understanding the function of what is said, understanding the speaker attitude stance. Understanding the function of what is said is to ask for what someone really intends to say. For example, in most cases, the result depends on what the authority figure intention is and to the authority stance. The authority's response often determines the way the direction will take. If the response is positive, the problem is solved. While if the response is negative, the problems will take a different direction. We have some kind of question styles. For example, like say question styles here we have it. Then what does the student wanted to know about it? For example, maybe courses, or maybe the decision will be made by the authority. Sometimes you could have question like this. What do the speaker says about the, for example, going to take the test or postponing the exam? When does the man want it to sleep? Then also we know here. Or where does the student go? Tips. How with the tips we have to take those in consideration. For example, how idea and concept of the lecture are connected to each other, because here we're going to have two parts of the lectures, and then we have to make sure how they are connected to each other. Number two, how the speaker presents supporting information and idea in supporting the one topic or speaking about a new topic. Sometimes the two speakers, they're going to present a conversation, and then sometimes one speaker is supporting the other one. Sometimes maybe they're changing the topic in a different way. How much the gerund type uses the speaker in presenting the lecture plays a part in organizing the lecture. We have also a idiomatic expression that's a problem for a lot of ESL students, because sometimes idioms, we don't understand it because we don't live in the culture. And the best way to understand idiom is to listen to the, for example, we say movies or different expression. The idiomatic expression meaning as a whole phrases is different from the meaning of each of the words done alone, used alone. For example, the problem with phrasal or the idiom, for example, you have to understand the whole part. For example, the sentences, maybe the phrases. Because if we split the phrases into different parts, the meaning will be completely different as it was in the idiom as a whole. In conversation between two speakers, idiomatic expression express the speaker's feeling or attitude regarding the subject being discussed. Also, this is important to know. From the conversation, we know how the two speakers are presented or expressing their feeling, where there is positive or negative. Let's go to the question style. How are we gonna know, for example, how questions are working? Question style, for example, we have two, husband and wife, and then they have discussion. For example, husband could say, I'm hungry. In fact, I could eat a horse. That's, for example, we know here that the husband is so hungry. That's the expression. Wife, no kidding. You have been eating the whole day. It means that wife knows that her husband is still eating the whole day. Narrator, what does the woman mean? Then answer, she is surprised by her husband's statement because she knows he is hungry. Then that's the reason he is eating alone. The gerund of this kind of questions, for example, we have it here. How much are we familiar with the topic? This is very important to know. What organization is being used to present the topic, such as the use of time phrase, signals, sequence of event, comparison, and contrast. What points are being presented? We have tips. In the tips, we have, for example, listen to the first part, which is introduction of the spoken lecture, will help you, or help the listener to get the following. For example, that's what's gonna help him. Number one, definition of the topic by using signals, known as which was that what is known, we call them. This is very important definition we know from the topic. Repeated ideas. Same idea in a different part of the spoken lecture. Rephrase ideas. Same idea using different synonym. Reference idea to understand what is going between the two speakers. For example, we could divide the lecture of the speaking here into 3 parts. For example, the spoken lecture is divided into. It's important to know. For example, we have introduction, about maybe 30 to 60 seconds. Then we have the body of the lecture or the lecture. The next maximum could be between 2 to 3 minutes. This is going to be the next part after the introduction. Then we have conclusion. The conclusion lasts 10 to 20 seconds. Then how a lecture is being spoken in TOEFL listening test. We have to be familiar with this. Usually, how a lecture is being spoken in TOEFL test. For example, number 1, using rhetorical questions. You have to know how they use it. Repeating and summarizing the information being presented by the speakers. Number C, rephrasing keywords and the idea after being spoken by the speakers. Pausing and changing in the page is used to emphasize the fact that will be summarized or concluded by the speakers. This is also important to know it. Number E, the lecture key element will be placed by the speaker on the screen. Then the last one, pay attention to the idea and their definitions or explanation being placed on the screen because some of them will be used as questions. Thank you very much for listening. Please keep watching my clips.